I think it's important to note how important human capital is. And so at SunEdison, we early on, our head of HR was part of my executive management team. So from day one, not just a top level position, but one that was in every strategic meeting, every strategy meeting, et cetera. And so I do think that this notion of human capital is something that we need to elevate to that level. I think in terms of actively recruiting to the industry, the International Energy Agency says that we need to do about $10 trillion of deployment on an incremental basis beyond what we're already doing business as usual infrastructure investment to stave off the worst impacts of climate change. They further say that we're basically on track to reaching 44% of that number, right? That's wind and solar and lots of other stuff that's in there. I choose to view that, on the sales and marketing side as, basically 44,000 people who are going to sell $10 million worth of climate change solutions between now and 2020, right? So we have about 44,000 people dialed in that can do that. 440,000 people who are dialed in to do that for $10 million each between now and 2020. And so that's where we are now. I think to reach 10 trillion, we need the other 560,000 people, right? And so I don't think that's going to happen, at least in terms of the best and the brightest, unless we recruit them in, right? Those people are generally comped on sales. They like, to get tickets to go to the San Francisco Giants game for free, and there are ways to get them in, and it's not usually through, figuring out how to appeal to their social and moral causes. Not because they're incapable of that, but that's just not how you attract the best and the brightest in that field. And so I think if we want those people who are currently selling roofs for some of these roofing companies that charge $10 a square foot instead of $7, or if you want to get those people in that are selling commercial real estate, or you want those people who actually know how to do this stuff, I think we have to actively go out and bring them and drag them into our industry and show them how many commissions, how much money we can make, right? I mean, I think most of the residential solar guys these days are paying, I think, between 15 and 20 cents a watt in commissions, which is extraordinary. One guy that I know just joined the industry has already sold $7 million worth of stuff in this year alone in residential solar in New York. So you really can, if you get the best and the brightest, bring them in. I mean, separately, what I'd say is that it doesn't matter what your background is, whether you're an English major or an engineer or an accountant. We desperately need you in the industry. So, I mean, we do have a dearth of the best and the brightest in the industry, not because we can't attract them, but just because we're growing so fast that we need more. So, for those of you who've thought about joining the industry, have had a hard time finding a job in the industry, et cetera, I think that, there's a couple of reasons that you're having a hard time finding a job. One, you probably don't know what the hell you want, which is most of the people I talk to. They're just like, I just want a job in the industry. I'm like, well, that's great. What are you good at? I don't know. I haven't thought about it. So think about it. And figure out what you're actually good at and what you're passionate about. Because, your passion comes through when you actually know what you want to do. Two, think about moving. Right? I mean, San Francisco's awesome, but there are places that need you around the country and around the world. So if you're able to move, there's a lot of people who actually need you, and you should be looking at jobs that are not just in this area, because your passion might be required in Austin or in Dallas or some other place. And so think about moving. And not that San Francisco's a bad place. I love this place, but but there are jobs all around the world, and definitely all around the United States. And the third piece is a little more esoteric. I definitely think that the skills that you can learn in this industry are very specialized, and you have to take an interest in those specialized skills. There's extraordinary amounts of training opportunities in this industry, and for those of you who aren't taking advantage of those training opportunities, you're really missing out. And I don't mean taking a master's degree from Berkeley or Stanford or whatever, which are awesome master's degrees, but I mean actually picking a sector that you really care deeply about and actually going to those one-week training seminars or three-day training seminars or events like this. It's really critical, because the nuances in our business are important, and I think what I decided, but I think hopefully you guys all decided with me, is that this sector in particular, energy access, is ripe for innovation. We're not even close to figuring this out. We've got a lot of technologies that have come on that can solve the problems on a technological basis, but the business model and financial innovations, we're not even close to solving. So, we need you to be brainstorming with us. We need you to figure out what the basics are here, and we need you to get from where you are now, which is asking the dumb questions, and then starting to ask, the really smart questions, and really getting to the point where you're innovating in that area, because we desperately need that.